Section 19 of God's Terrible Voice in the City by Thomas Vincent. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Sinners, turn from your evil ways. 1-5. Sinners, turn from your evil ways, otherwise iniquity will be your ruin. 1. Drunkards, turn from your evil ways. Overcharge not yourselves with excess, where God allows you enough for use. Look not upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth its colour in the cup, when it sparkleth and moveth itself aright. At last it biteth like a serpent, and stingeth like an adder. Proverbs 23 verses 31 and 32. Wounds and woe are the issue of excessive drinking. Verse 29. This sin may be sweet and pleasing to the eye and appetite in the temptation, but it will wound and sting the conscience worse than an adder or serpent can do the body in the reflection. God hath put bitterness into the cup by his judgments, and will you drink as deep as before? Are you resolved to taste the dregs that lie at the bottom? The cup hath poison in it, soul poison, and will you drink of it still, though you murder and destroy your souls forever by this sin? The cup hath wrath in it, the wrath of an angry God, and is it good for you to drink off the wine of God's wrath? Drunkenness hath been your sin, and if you go on, God threateneth that drunkenness shall be your punishment. Jeremiah 15 verse 12, Speak unto them this word, Thus saith the Lord, every bottle shall be filled with wine. Drunkards like this very well. They are very well pleased that their bottles shall be filled with wine, that they may empty them. But understand the meaning. Verses 13 and 14, Thus saith the Lord, I will fill all the inhabitants of the land with drunkenness, and I will dash them one against another, even the fathers and the sons together. I will not pity nor spare, nor have mercy, but destroy them. Drunkards, you reel and fall sometimes with your sin. God will make you reel and fall by his judgments, and dash you one upon another, yea, dash you in pieces, and destroy you without pity or mercy. Will you not forbear your cups and excesses? God will put a cup of trembling and astonishment into your hand. He will put gall and wormwood into your cup, and make you taste the bitter effects of this sin. If he do not severely scourge you for this sin here, he will be sure to torment you for this sin forever. Turn, ye drunkards, from your evil ways, vomit up your sin by repentance, weep and mourn for all your sinful mirth and jollity, and take heed of returning with the dog, and licking up the vomit which you have disgorged. Avoid the occasions of this sin. Shun the company of such as have been your tempters. Take heed of coming into the places where you have been drawn in to commit it. Make a covenant with your feet, that they may never lead you out of the way of God into such places where you have been so often overtaken. Curb and restrain your appetite. Take some kind of holy revenge upon yourselves. Deny yourselves some things which are lawful in themselves, because occasions of sin unto you. And instead of filling yourselves with wine or strong drink unto drunkenness and excess, labor to be filled with the Spirit, and by the Spirit to mortify this and all other deeds of the body. And rather let the wicked wonder at you and speak evil of you for your sobriety, than God hate you and bring destruction upon you for your intemperance. 2. Adulterers, turn from your evil ways. Come out of the unclean bed, wallow not any longer in this besmearing mire. Are you fallen into the ditch? Get up, and come forth with speed, and wash your garments from the spots which they have received. Are you taken in the net, and ensnared in adulterous embracements? Deliver yourselves like a roe from the net of the hunter, and like a bird from the snare of the fowler. Lust not after the beauty and enjoyment of adulterous women. Let not the soft and sweet language of their lips entice you, nor the sparkling motions of their eyes inflame you. Put not fire into your bosoms, and take heed of walking upon burning coals. Why will you consume your body and time and substance, which cannot be redeemed? Why will you bring upon yourselves a wound and dishonour which cannot be wiped off? Why will you be like oxen which go to the slaughter, and be such fools as to bring upon yourselves destruction? Turn from your evil ways, and dare not to go forward in that way which leads unto death and hell. Marriage is honourable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Hebrews 13 verse 4. God hath shot his arrows into the city, and wounded many adulterers for this sin, that had before defiled and wounded themselves by it. And will you go on till a dart pierce through your liver? The beginning of the sin is sweet like honey, But will not the end of it be more bitter than wormwood? And if a little short pleasure of the flesh be so desirable, will not the extreme endless pain it will produce be intolerable? Can you be content to lie so many millions of years under the horrible tortures of hell for a little present sensual delight, which when reaped cannot yield you satisfaction? Is it sweet to fall into the arms of an adulterous woman, and will it not be bitter, yea, a fearful thing, to fall into the hands of the living God, Hebrews 10, verse 31, especially when he is irreconcilably angry, and his anger burns like fire which is devouring and unquenchable? You have seen the fire which hath burnt down the city, how dreadful it was. The fire of lust within you is worse, and the fire of hell beneath you, which is preparing for you, and unto which, by this sin, you are hastening, is 1,000-fold more dreadful, of which more by and by. And yet, will you go on? O turn from your adulterous ways. Come not near the door of such houses, where you have such incentives to lust, and opportunities for such lewd practices. Make a covenant with your eyes. The spark is catched at the eye, not only from it, but also by it. The spark that, falling upon the timber of an adulterous heart, puts it into a flame. Do not look upon the maid or woman, that you may not think. Do not think, that you may not lust. Do not touch, that you may not desire to taste. Do not toy, lest you be caught. Do not come too near the brink, lest you fall into the stream before you are aware. Take heed of speculative uncleanness, as you would be kept from actual uncleanness. Take heed of self-pollutions, as you would be kept from adultery with others. Avoid occasions of this sin. Come not into such company and places where you may have opportunity to commit it. Flee youthful lusts which war against the soul. Keep your eyes pure and chaste. Resist the first suggestions to this sin. Quench the fire when it begins to kindle. Look to the issue and consequence of this sin. Remember that the holy eye of God is upon you in your most secret retirements, and he will ere long call you to an account. 3. Swearers, turn from your evil ways. Remember the third commandment, under which a threatening is annexed, of God's charging guilt, especially on the breakers hereof. Exodus 20, verse 7, Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. The very use of the name of God irreverently is a breach of this command, but to swear by the name of God in ordinary discourse is a gross breach of it, which, as it affronts God highly, so it will bring condemnation certainly upon the guilty, that do not repent and forbear. When God hath made your mouths and given you tongues to speak his praise, which then are your glory, will you profane the name of this God, and turn not only the glory of God, but also your own glory into shame and dishonour, and that when you have not the motive and incentive as to the flesh-pleasing sins? Herbert, take not his name, who made thy mouth, in vain. It gets thee nothing, and hath no excuse. Lust and wine plead a pleasure, avarice gain, but the cheap swearer through his open sluice lets his soul run for naught, as little fearing. Were I an epicure, I could hate swearing. Look into Deuteronomy 28, verses 58 and 59. What threatenings the Lord doth denounce there against such as do not fear his name, and surely it is for want of fear and awe of God's name that any are so bold as to swear by it or take it in vain. If thou wilt not fear this glorious and dreadful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance, etc. Hath not God plagued and burnt the city of London, amongst other sins, for this of swearing, and yet will you swear still, and provoke the Lord to further wrath? When you have seen in part how fearful the name of God is, in the judgments which he hath executed, will you go on still to profane his name? Do you not fear future judgments? Will not the name of God be displayed more dreadfully before you, when he opens the treasures of his wrath, and sends his Son in flaming fire to take vengeance upon sinners? And yet, will not you fear this name of God? Swearers, with what confidence can you pray to God? What hopes can you have when you use God's name in prayer, that you shall have the least audience or acceptance when you abuse his name so much, and cast such dishonour upon it by your oaths? If you do not pray now, as swearers seldom do, will you never be driven to your knees? Will you never be brought to such extremities that no creature shall be able to give you any relief? And with what face can you then look up to God? Will not your calling upon the name of God be in vain, as you have taken his name in vain? Will not God laugh at your calamity, and though you cry and shout, will not he shut out your prayers and bar the door of mercy upon you forever? Swearers, turn from your sin, make a covenant with your mouth, set a watch before the door of your lips, use God's name in prayer and reverently in discourse. Do not swear by it or take it in vain any more. Get an awe of this name upon your hearts, which will be an excellent means to keep you from this sin. 4. Liars, turn from your evil ways. We read, Acts 5, at the beginning, of Ananias and Sapphira, who were smitten with sudden death for the sin of lying. It is said they fell down at the apostles' feet and gave up the ghost. And hath not the sin of lying been one ingredient in the meritorious cause of the fall of so many persons and houses by the plague and fire in the city of London? This sin of lying the apostle doth in especial caution the Colossians and Ephesians against, after the wonderful grace of God in renovation of them according to his image. Colossians 3 verse 9, Lie not one to another, seeing ye have put off the old man with his deeds, and have put on the new man, etc. Ephesians 4 verses 24 and 25. Having put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness, put away lying, and speak every man truth to his neighbour. And this sin I may caution Londoners against, after the dreadful anger of God expressed in the desolations which he hath made against them by his late judgments. Lie not one to another any more, but speak every one truth to his neighbour. The Lord is a God of truth, and he cannot lie. Do you labour to be men of truth, such as will not lie? The devil is the father of lies and liars, John 8 verse 44, and which is most eligible, to be the children of the devil. A lying tongue is one of the 7 abominations which the Lord hateth, Proverbs 6 verses 16 and 17. And is there any good you can get by your lying, comparable to the evil of rendering yourself hateful and abominable in the sight of God? Is it needful for you sometimes to speak lies? Is it not 1,000-fold more needful for you always to speak truth? Are you likely to gain so much by the former as by the latter? What is a little outward emolument in comparison with inward peace? Are you likely to lose so much by the latter as by the former? What is the loss of external temporal things in comparison with the loss of your souls and happiness forever? Is it needful to lie that you may excuse your faults? This makes them double. Herbert, nothing can need a lie, a fault which needs it most grows two thereby. Parents, warn your children against this sin of lying. Do not spare the rod of correction where you find them guilty. Pass by 20 other faults rather than this. Lying is the first link in the chain of 1,000 gross sins. Wrap off their fingers from the first link, lest the chain after grow too strong for you to break. Masters, indulge not your servants in this sin. The resolution of David was, Psalm 101 verse 7, He that worketh deceit shall not dwell in my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. Especially take heed of leading servants to this sin by your example. Above all, of putting them upon this sin by your persuasions or commands, for besides the guilt of their sin, which hereby you incur, your damage is like to be more than your advantage by their lies. If you put them upon lying for you, they will put themselves upon lying to you, and if you deceive others in some things by the former, they are likely to deceive you deservedly in greater things by the latter. Young ones, take heed of lies. Do nothing as may need the cloak and excuse of a lie, and if you be overtaken with a fault, never deny it when examined, but with sorrow acknowledge it, as you would gain favour with God and man. Take heed of this sin betimes. Lay aside lying before it grows into a custom which will be hard to leave. Old ones, break off this sin before you be dragged by the chain of this sin into the fire of hell, which is the threatened punishment thereof. Revelation 21 verse 8. Be not too hasty in speech, lest this sin issue forth at the door of your lips before you are aware. Speak always as in the hearing of God, who knows whether your words and heart do agree, and who will one day call you to an account for this sin, and except you repent, punish you for it severely in the lake of fire and brimstone. 5. Slanderers, turn from your evil ways. The sin of slandering is one of the worst sorts of lying, and the teeth of slanderers are compared to spears and arrows, and their tongues to a sharp sword. Psalm 57 verse 4, And when they utter their slanders they bend their bow and shoot their arrows. They whet their sword and wound therewith the reputation of others, which they are bound to be as careful of as their own. Psalm 64, verse 34. Slanderers are false witnesses who lay to the charge of others such things as they know not. Psalm 25, verse 11. They are lions who tear in pieces the good name of others. They are serpents whose words are stings and full of deadly poison. They are compared to mauls and swords and sharp arrows. Proverbs 25, verse 18. Yea, they are like madmen who cast about firebrands and arrows and death. Proverbs 26, verse 18. By this sin you wound others and are guilty of tongue murder, but you wound yourselves more, your consciences, and are guilty of self-murder, of soul murder, and the poison of such speeches is not so venomous and deadly in regard of your neighbour's good name as it is in regard of your own spirits, which are envenomed, and will be destroyed hereby without the application of the blood of Christ for pardon and sealing. Slanderers, forbear your backbiting, slanderous speeches, forbear devouring words which swallow up the good name of your neighbours. Let not your throats be like open sepulchres to entomb their reputation. Take heed your tongues do not utter slanders and reproaches devised by yourselves. Be careful also that you do not spread such calumnies as others have devised. Receive not any accusation against your neighbours without good proof. Drive away backbiting tongues with an angry countenance, and if you must hear of others' faults, let love conceal them as much as may be from the knowledge of others, rather than speak to themselves what you hear, and reprove them, if the things be scandalous, with prudence, love, and a spirit of meekness. Remember the command, Titus 3, verse 2, speak evil of no man, and take heed of the sinful practice of the women described, 1 Timothy 5, verse 13. They learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. Where your tongues have been instrumental to wound others, and yourselves withal, by slanderous speeches, make use of the same instrument for healing. Labour to heal yourselves by confession of your sin to God, and to heal others by acknowledging to them the wrong you have done them. Labour to lick whole their fame, and by good words to promote their esteem, which you have unjustly taken away. Labour for so much humility and brotherly love as to be as tender of their good name and fame as your own, and in honour to prefer them above yourselves, which will make you ready to hide their faults, and keep you from evil surmises and evil slanderous speeches. End of section 19.